last week we discussed the idea that you have to be by tzayfim in order to rise kriya, and I suggested that it seems that the pashtus is that haratzofim is minat tzayfim, and we're going to challenge what I said last week a little bit, and I'm going to read to you from a sefer called Tvuos Haaretz. Mitzvah. Okay, means outlook. You know, a mitzvah. What? Yeah. Okay. Hilefi daiti mashakarim balaz rami nabu saulad, which means kevesh monavi. Kevesh monavi. B'chol mokom shenitzvah shenizkar eitzel shmuel hanavi shekovetz yisrael lemitzvah. Here azois she al roish har gvoya, v'chei mitzvah shenir lemerchakim. Umatzasi in the sefer mitzvah mul Yushalayim. Ki b'mitzvah haya b'mei kedem makom tefillah liyisrael, which that doesn't fit with Mount Scopus. The kavanah say al mitzvah shenizkar tamid b'shmuel shekibetz Yisrael lemitzvah. B'chol makom kibutz beis hakneses u'b'makom tefillah b'lashon Yavanis v'tzalayim makom kal v'eid v'kibutz. V'u mitzvah hanisvah she mul Yushalayim tzofonis. Now, Mount Scopus is awful tzofonis, but it's tzofonis immediately tzofonis. It's not, you know, it's like Har Mishcha is Har Zaysid. The next one is Mount Scopus. The feed daite who are tzayfim manisko de rechazal, removim and tzayfim, etc. Or the mizach tzvainis mitzvah nisko gimel bebayis mashur. Now, if you read the bottom, zedas rabin zel or mitzvah nebi Samuel, ach choykrim acherim chokim al dvaro. They disagree. Umehem yichad al kefa tel al fula, umehem anikris scopus. The das acherim ki mitzvah acheresi ibnoiv. So you already see that it's not clear. There's some other sources, but this is just so where is the city that we're talking about? Now, I don't think you have to be a super genius to figure out the difference between Kever Shmuel Navi and the Iratika and Mount Scopus and the Iratika is a good few kilometers. Now, this mamish, I don't know exactly how far, but it's probably about 6 kilometers from mitzvah Kever Shmuel Navi to the Iratika, and it's about 1 kilometer from there. So now we're going to see over here. I'm just going to point out one of the amazing things about the topography of Eretz Yisrael is the immediate difference. We're right now in the Shvela. Come on. You go to Shar HaGai, and immediately it becomes mountainous. In other words, 38 is the bottom of the flatlands. What? And it's but it's like mamish, like you could cut it with a knife. It's not like a gradual thing. All of a sudden it becomes mountainous. Amazing thing. Yerushalayim is Yerushalayim. You go one step over east, and it's desert. No, it's not only does it drop in latitude, the climate changes dramatically. It's a desert climate. Yerushalayim is not in a desert climate. I can't explain this. I could just tell you. So you have a guy over here. Do you know when you drive from the Ohio border to Pennsylvania and all of a sudden it starts to become mountainous? Are you aware of that? It's almost like, you know, it's not b'mikra that that's where there's a border. There's a change that happens. Okay, so But here in Eretz Yisrael, the changes are much more radical and they're much closer together. Okay? So when I'm going to tell you I'm coming to Yerushalayim Mehamidbar, Yehuda v'Shomron is not the Midbar. Anybody's ever been there? It's not Midbar. So we're going to discuss in where is that? Midbar. Where is it? Okay, so let's see halacha beis. We're going to see halacha beis inside. We're in Tavkuf Samach Aleph, says beis. Haray Yushalayim b'Chabonam Tzion Haisam Midbar Shmama. We're going to learn this again inside. Just want to get to the point over here. Okshor beis Havidish Oymar beis Kachez Vatenu Asher Lucha Ba'avosenu Asher V'Seish V'Chulu. U'mehechel Chayv L'Kroya Minat Soif. V'achkach Kishiyira Mikdash Korea Kera Acher V'Chol Kriya Tefach. So it sounds like first you say Yerushalayim, and then you say the Beis Hamikdash, right? That's what's v'achar kach kisharoya. So that means you're coming from which direction? Must be coming from Motza, right? You know, from Ramot. You're coming from west going eastward. That's what it sounds like, right? V'imbo derech hamidbar. They come from the east going west, then Ozroi Mikdash Tchila. The Koreas HaMikdash Tefach. V'achar Kishir Yerushalayim, because first you bump into the Mikdash and then you see Yerushalayim. Then, so now, if I would ask you, where is Tzayf? Where would you say? It's hard for me to believe that Tzayfim is Har Tzayfim. When you read the Shulchan Aruch inside, you know, after I was looking at this thing, I opened up Shulchan Aruch again, I was looking at it, I said, just read it TV. How does it read? It seems to me that that's what it should be, that Tzayfim is probably something on the west or the north, but it's definitely not so close that if from Mount Scopus, you're going to see the Beis Hamikdash before you're going to see Yerushalayim. Or you'll see them at the same time. But it's not going to see the Beis Hamikdash, and then you're going to see. Mashallah Mustadeli. At this point.
Maybe it's not there because Yerushalayim was right in the Emet, right down the bottom. Dear David, down there. That's why he was saying the Mikdash first, because the ear is down there, maybe. He's coming from the He's coming
from the west. Who are you talking about?
Coming from the east.
Yeah. It says coming from the east, north, south, where east? Yamamelech, where's he coming from?
Directly east.
He's coming from Har HaMishcha, which is called Har HaZeis.
Right.
He's coming from the road which goes by Yad Avshalom and goes out to the Yamamelech. I don't know if you're aware of that. Right. That road goes to what's the name of that yeshuv? No. Before that, right at the bottom of the hill, you're going towards Mala Dumim. That road goes to Mala Dumim. That's that road, right?
And it says here the first thing you can see is the Harabites, right?
Yeah.
That's because it's up high, whereas the city is down low, so he didn't see the city when he's coming from a distance. First thing he sees is on top of the hill on that eastern side, he sees the Beit Hamikdash, which is at the top.
Excellent. I'm with you. That's fine with me. So where's Tzofim?
It's also, I think, in the northeast.
No, it says either you have a choice. Either you come from Tzofim or you come from the Midbar. What?
West north. I call it north. The Tzofim is we'll call it north.
Well, you know, I can't argue with you because he is sitting north of me, and you are sitting south of me. But as far as I'm concerned, we're here together. I know it's true. No, it's true. But this is what we call north. He's not north of me. No, that's right. Right? No, we have to use some kind of a general thing. So if you're coming from that road where Yad Shalom is, okay, so immediately in front of you, maybe a little bit to the right, is Haaretz Ophir, and to your left is the Atika. But you can't see when you're going to be coming down that mountain from where the Jamja is. I don't know if you're familiar. You should. This is you're coming down that mountain. You're going to see what? Well, you see Sulan. I don't know if you see Sulan. I don't know where the road was exactly. It's not clear to me where the road was. But I know that road was built. That road, that's the Yad was built on graves. That we know. That was, unfortunately, we were quite familiar. That was in the middle of Parasais.
Most people will be coming to the north. They will get Parasais first.
Oh, I'm not arguing. How are they coming from the north? They're coming from Mount Scopus. Where did they leave the Midbar? Where did they leave the Midbar? If they're leaving the Midbar and coming from Mount Scopus, I find it hard to believe that they saw Sion. So you can't really see it from there. If that's the Atika. You understand the problem? You're saying if you go according to what it says in this Sefer, so life is much easier. Tofa means Kever Shmuel Navi. And when you come down Midbar, wherever you come from over there, then you're going to see the Har Bayis before you're going to see Yerushalayim. It's fine. It's a very, very nice mahala. Because if you had if you're ever in Har Tzofim, I don't know if people have had the opportunity to go to Yerushalayim. But if you go to Yerushalayim, 1 second after Har Tzofim is the Midbar. But it's like not Har Tzofim is Midbar on one side. It's mamish. If you go on the university road that goes around the university, it's Midbar. Right? You've been there? It's an amazing thing. And if you go into French Hill, it's mamish not Midbar. It's a mavil what's going on. But anyways, this is let's see in halacha now. Araya Yerushalayim b'Chavona Oma. Okay. Tzion Haisa Midbar Shemama. Now, I would like to just tell you something. And when I was learning this halachas, one of the psukim speak about Tzion and Yerushalayim. What is the difference between Tzion and Yerushalayim? What does Tzion mean? What does Yerushalayim mean? Did I say the word Har Tzion? That's what it means. They'll probably say Har Tzion, right? And what does Har Tzion mean, by the way? Wow. Why don't we just call it Keved Melech? Tzion Halot Tish'ali. You see that Keved Melech? Right. The Mefarshim is a sefer called Carmel, which was written by the Malbim, which is a book of antonyms, synonyms in Torah. Fascinating sefer. And I looked over there, I looked some other places. Tzion refers to the city of Yerushalayim. What is the Yofi of Yerushalayim? Yerushalayim Kilas Yofi. I'm going to ask you a question, and this question is a very un-Zionistic question, and I want you to answer in truth. What's so pretty about Yerushalayim? What's the Yofi of Yerushalayim? Obviously, you've never been a Chevron. It's exactly the same. What about Borders' Palace? So I'm telling you right now what it says. What is the intangible? No, it's a belief. It's a perception of what? What is it?
Represents to us.
Oh. So the Yofi of Yerushalayim, right now quoting Makairis in Chazal. The Yofi of Yerushalayim, Ir Shechubra Loy Yachto. The Yofi of Yerushalayim, this is the place that Shemayim v'Oretz fuse together. Zeh Yafeh. I found this in the Mefarshim, and I heard this after I found this in the Mefarshim. I remember I heard some Moshe Shapiro many years ago. The Yofi of Yerushalayim, we're not speaking about physical beauty. The city of Yerushalayim, the physical city, is referred to as Tzion. And if you look in all the Makairos and you have this understanding clear to you, you'll find out things flow much better. It's worthwhile this year just to hear this piece of definition. It's not even, I'm not even saying anything, yeah? The Chibur? Don't know. I don't know if Hebron is. I don't know if that Hebron is. Yerushalayim Shel Ma'al is mechuber keg Yerushalayim Shel Mata. I don't know what Hebron is mechuber. There obviously is something in Hebron. That's obviously that there's something there. I don't know what's there. There's a reason why Adam Rishon decided to return his soul there, right? I know. I don't know. Don't know. But this is what it says. I found this in more than one source, and as with the psukim which we discussed, say Tzion Ha'isa Midbar Shemam, right? So, and with the rest of the pasuk is not that's speaking about a physical thing. Base kachet tzvartena shelucha ba v'seno sefer seshcha mechoteno yocharava the Korea. V'acher kach tisharoya migdash Korea kera acher v'chol kriya tefach. Okay, v'mbam min hamidbar shaz roya migdash tila Korea migdash tefach v'acher kishiyir Yerushalayim moisev al kero lishon kosher. I want to see the Mishaburas over here. Many times I have difficulties in Benara Machaverai about what are you mechuyev to tell people and what should you tell people. We spoke about this a little bit last week. People go to the kaisel. I'll meet you by the kaisel and we'll go out for lunch. And the person says, I'm a little bit uncomfortable because I'm going to be wearing my Kriya shirt and I don't want to be eating in that, high-ended restaurant in the Ir Atika, which is so quaint, right? So these are problems that I don't have. Other people have these problems. I just don't have them. So I hope they're going to the restaurant because when you go to the Kos, you have to see fleishiks that day. What? Bagels? What do you say? Bagels, yes. So let's see. So that's not a direct halacha, but we're going to see that this is brought down in halacha. Haray Yerushalayim. Yeshakashu shemistaver sheyom shirah bo tchila Yerushalayim b'chavana. Also, ois hayom kuloi b'poser v'yayin. You're going. No. Only when you're when it's the first time that you're doing it. Now, what's Basar and Yayin? We'll discuss that next week. The Yom Shachor Yerushalayim, we should have been usher all the time in Basar Yayin. Now, this is part of the things that are taken away from English. It's not stam. We're not partying. These are things which be'etzem represent what was taken away from us. So. I want to tell you something. My minhag of us wasn't to go to the Kos. I can't really answer that question. But if you be a good Jew, Mistama, they got married less than a month after they met, and since the chiyuv is to go to the Kos to propose, so you're less than a month away, right? I have no idea. No, but we have to eat fleishiks that night when you're at the house. No, I can't answer the question. I don't have to check it up, and I'm not sure which safer you check that up in. But And that's now,
the basar and the yain are karbanos,
because of carbonas, correct.
but
That's what it says.
not flowers.
Flowers?
FLOUR.
Oh,
Soulless.
flowers. Correct. Yeah. All right. So then it says, Yesha kazu shemistavra sheyam shiro. Now, what does it say? The Mishnah would say that you're not allowed to? Aron Chaim, can you read for me what his words mean? Yesha kazu shemistavra.
Make a logical calculation.
So the Mishnah Berurah says that you have to follow this. So this halacha, I'm not sure we call this halacha. This statement that the Mishnah Berurah says gives me much uncomfortableness. Many times people on the way to the Kaisel, they stop off at my house, and not sure if I should throw the book at them or not. Is this my job or not my job? But you want to have the experience in its totality. This is part of the experience. What? Anyways, all right. I just would like to mention something, even though that it's not directly to get to this. Briskerov had a Talmud whose name was Ilan. So Ilan became a big Rov in Tel Aviv, and he wrote a Sefer on Kutcher. When he was still learning by the Briskerov, he said Chaburis and Kutcher. And I heard the story from Rav Shalom Shadron, probably in Tovshin Mem Ches or Mem Tes. I heard this a long time ago, and it made a very important message which he shared. And when he was all of the chavuras that he said before he said them, he sent them over to the Briskerov. The Briskerov would comment on which parts he agrees, he disagrees, etc. And when he was about to print the Sefer, so he went to speak to the Briskerov again, and they went through siman by siman. Came to one siman, and the Briskerov said, "Don't print that siman." So this fellow was very disturbed. Why? What's wrong? No, there's nothing on it. Don't print it. So they asked him why. This is in 1946, if I'm not mistaken, this conversation happened. So he said, it seems to me that there's a strong possibility that there will be an Israeli government and a Jewish state. If that happens, there's a possibility that there will be people who will want to bring korbanos in places where you're allowed to, and according to many poskim, which you discuss in that simon, they're allowed to bring korbanos from koimoy without the. We don't have to give them information. And he told them not to print it. This was a discussion that happened walking down the Rehov David Yellen in 1946 or 1947. And the Sefer is printed, and there's a simon missing. In other words, the order, it's, I'm saying it has over Tezayin. You read it, always get, and then like skips a number because it was already by the printer. They just pulled it out, but they didn't retypeset the plates. I don't know if you know what that means exactly, but it recite because. So this was Shalom Shazon said this over. He said, you see, Gadol Yisrael, that when you're talking about one thing, he has a way greater picture in mind. This Talmud is printing a sefer on Kachim that's totally, so to speak, a learning sefer. It's nothing to do with, with Tziyonim and what's going to be. No. You have to be responsible. It's a fascinating idea. Anyways, so we have to be careful not to go. We're not allowed to go. V'korev, v'ayim shechayiv l'shtachavois, v'likroyas begodov, v'livchois, Lis oinen, ulis abel, al churban beis hamikdash. You're going, chayiv, lis abel, livkais, lis oinen, al churban beis hamikdash. Ula koinen. And to say what was 3 years, so to speak, but loymar mitzvah also. Ukishikareya mevorech, v'oimer borach daina emes. Yikol mishpat al tzedek ve'em. Yikol mishpat al kel tzedek yoshu. Yi'ata kel abo akabo aleinu. Now, I would like to say something, and again, I'm in attack mode. That's the whole point of this series of shiurim. If you haven't figured that out yet. Let's say a person is saimach on those places that say that you could be makniya clothes to somebody else and then you don't rice kriya. What about everything else that we learned? Does that go down out the window? I don't see any reason why it should. If you're honest that you can't do kriya, don't depend on kriya. That's not like that. You're really mechuyev in kriya. You have a technical reason that you can't do it. But you don't lose the procedure. So what happened is that the procedure became just a procedure. And I'll just mention, about 2 summers ago, if I'm not mistaken, my father was here in Eretz Yisrael, and I picked him up from the airport together with my sister. And the first, I think before they came to my house, they wanted to go to the Kaisel. And the discussion about ripping kriya and what to rip kriya was the discussion in the car. And the discussion revolved around an issue that there's somebody who made a gemach in your atika that you can get yourself a kriya shirt, almost perforated, rip here, is that right or wrong? Wrong. Now the halacha is, and it's halacha hilchos havelus, a person is wearing an expensive garment and he wants to take it off to wear a different one, you're allowed to. That could be it's preferred. Even though I said over a story to my Shiva last week that so what if it's a new baggage? You find yourself in the situation, we're not mechuyev to spend money. But if what we're doing is we are trying to do away with it, the person who brings with him, and I think about it, a guy comes to America and he packs along a kriya shirt. That's great. I'm very happy with that. You know why? Because he has it on his mind. The fact that whether it cost you a lot of money or not a lot of money, that's not important. That means it was on your mind, you have to rip a shirt, that you took it with you and you cared about it, you thought about it, that's excellent. Whether it ended up costing you money or not, well, if you don't have to think about it because they'll take care of it for me when I get there. Vada Rabbanim will do the kriya for you, something like that. It just doesn't go. Anyways, Minat Seifim, Pirish, the Loi Choshev Re'iyah, Merachok, Bimakom, Elk Shemagia Lat Seifim, Du Makom, Samuch Liyushalayim, the Chashiv Re'iyah, we're not sure what those words Samuch Liyushalayim mean. I think basically, I'll come by some causes, the Seifim, how they Pirush, Kol Makom, Samuch Liyushalayim, Sheichon Liros Misham, Loi Kosuk, Shegia Lat Seifim, Tzach Lekroya, Af Api Shadain Leira Oisa. Pasal Yerabo, Kol Shekareya V'Ro Ktas. Af Shaloira V'Tuv, Kishiagia Ein Tzach Lekroya. If you had a glimpse, even though you didn't see it well, you don't have to do any more kriya. Holachat Fila Yesh Lahamtin Af Shegia Lemakom Tzayfim, where you can have a good look. Okay, so I just want to finish off Korea Acher V'Yachik Shoshes Boys. The first one, when you see the next event. Kol Shol Shetzach Tav Shon Ikem Mitzkei Yotel Pam Rishoner Shiala Mikdash Shekdushasa Yosem Yushalayim V'Nechlelas B'Soichai. Therefore, you only have to add on a little bit. Halacha l'maisa. In my opinion, when should somebody rice kriya? So I'm willing to say, whoever is here that goes to the Kaisel is going by vehicle. In other words, I'm making that assumption. Whether it's your own private car or you're going by bus. If you're going by a private car, in my opinion, the place where you should rip kriya is when you come down the road from after the parking lot of the Rova Yehudi. On that road, you can see the karka of the Mokum HaMikdash. Your vadai within the confines of Yerushalayim, and you could rip both. So even before that, as you make the turn, and you're about even with where you can go into the Ir Atika, like we're going into the Churba Shul. If you go, I don't know what that street, Chabad Street, if I'm not mistaken, that's what it's called. Have anybody Ir Atika guys here? If I'm not mistaken, there's two streets over there. I can't remember which one. One is called Chabad, and I can't remember what the other one is called. But when you're over there, you're about equal where that line is on the floor near the corridor, which is more or less the Ir Atika. You can see the Ir Atika from there, and your zichur could be Yaitza. But when you have a suffix, as far as I'm concerned, you can rip later. Better rip later than rip earlier the Mokum suffix. Okay, so that's the idea when a person should rip.
So the day not eating that day is a 24-hour period, or it's not always a different day?
I don't know. My guess is that it's a morning to night. No, it has to do with the day of your when the event is fresh in your mind. That's my guess.
So you're going to test in the afternoon.
So should eat supper. That's what I think. All right. Okay. Sif Gimel. Im karalachas me'ara Yehuda in tzach lachsa likrok yeshiyah or shayah Yehuda. Because all of them are the same, and if you did one, you did them all, except chutz miYerushalayim shechos v'korei alel kara acher b'fnei atzah. What? Holy Yehudi, that's what it's called? Oh, that's right. I was trying to figure out where you're reading from. Yeah, okay, fine. All right. And the other one's Chabad, right? Yeah, okay. From Korea al Yerushalayim Tchila, Eino tzach likra al Shar Ar Yehuda, because Yerushalayim its kedusha is greater, and it's included in the other ones. All right. The kula chashivas kachas. The kolmakom tzach loisef al kara culture. According to some, you see a different one of the things. Okay, I'd just like to mention that there are all kinds of machlokes the Negea, Smoshe, from Zalman Auerbach, different aspects of Kriya. I get asked all the time about Erev Shabbos, Motzei Shabbos, Rosh Chodesh. There are in some form that they bring down this concept that on those days you don't have to read Kriya. The pashtus of halacha is a person should read Kriya. Now, it's whether there's such a minig or not is disputed. But there seems to be that there's such a minig. Chalamoy, the minig is not to rice kriya. Now, this happens to be, I just share with you, the Igros Moshe's shita is rather unique. I don't remember exactly in what cases he says it, but he says in the case where a person is excused from kriya for whatever reason it is, when he goes the next time, he has to do it. It's deferred. It's not absolved.
What if next time was within a month? It was less than 3 days.
So it doesn't matter because you owe it. You owe a kriya. You owe it, and this idea of owing a kriya permeates suchas havelus also. That's not the accepted fasting thing is if you went at a time where you're potter, then you're potter. That's the minig. Your person is he's not mochayev to do more than that.
What if you did Kriya and then 25 days you went again? I heard that if it's within a month,
They don't have to. Correct.
Right.
All of these halachas, if it's within a month, we discussed Yerushalayim. We discussed this. How do you live in Yerushalayim? We discussed that last week, right? I'm living in the new part of Yerushalayim. We discussed that.
Yeah.
We did.
The walls.
Yes,
No.
we did.
No, if you live in
Geula. Geula. That's what you gave the
Discussed it?
example of Geula. Yes.
Okay, fine. Okay, I'm sorry. I know I was here, but I apologize. I don't remember. Okay, at any rate. Okay. Next. Kol hakaram elo biyadai umad. The kriya has to be done biyad and umad. These are halachas. Now, I would just like to mention the way I understand it at the bottom line. The person goes to Levaya, and you see the Chaver Kadisha have the guy do Kriya. The guy starts it off with Sakinya Pani, and he turns the corner, and then he turns the corner of of the ripping, and then he rips it as the guy ripping. Be'etzem Kriya is the downward motion. The reason why Kriya has to be done from the from here is because it has to become apparent that there was a Kriya done, because otherwise if it's just a slit, so a person can stand in a certain way and the slit gets covered up, you don't see it. What? It has to be apparent. The rip has to be apparent. And the way what? It's technically necessary to have a horizontal component to make the vertical one apparent. Well, I don't know if you learn Hilchos Avelus, there's a whole discussion about where is a person supposed to be ripping. I don't know. The kaisel is supposed to be done like for a parent. It's supposed to be done like a parent. So this we're learning right now. Yeah, it has to be done umid, but correct kol susa sha'olav ad she'gala eslibo. It has to become that your leg is megula. And I'm just going to share with you right now halacha in Hilchos Tznius, which I don't plan ever to learn Hilchos Tznius. I'm going to fill you in on a fascinating halacha, which you're never going to hear somewhere else, unless you decide to learn this by yourself. The halacha is that a beged zeya, one doesn't rip. So what does it mean? Not shegalas libo. The words don't make sense. They did. It did. It says you don't have to rip the beged zeya. And not only that, it says also by a lady that she has, when she has to rip kriya, that she also has to rip shegalas libo, but she doesn't rip a beged shel because, and it says even if she rips a beged and her beged shel isn't ripped, it's choser tznius, because undergarments are equal to being undressed. It's not a question in halacha. This is many of the places can expound on this in Hilchos Avelus. It's not a question of having flesh exposed. Anything which is supposed to be covered, being exposed, is equal to being covered. One has nothing to do with the other right now. We're talking about what's called exposed. We're not talking about Hilchos Brachos, what's called Kilui Erva. Well, obviously, we didn't say we're not talking about the emperor's new clothes. We're talking about clothes that a person is wearing that's equal to being this galus. Well, that's not called erva, but in tznius. What did I say? We're discussing tznius. It's a ki'ilu, yes. Okay. All right.